Hi hobby friends, let's talk about Shroud Runners. Between Space Marine test painting and commission work, it's taking me a little longer to get through all the new Eldar chaps than I'd like, and I have just a few more on the way too, so the focus is generally going to be on efficiency with these guys, I think. That said, I consider basically every model in my personal collection a chance to try out new ideas and techniques, so today I'm going to try out masking. Although this is a pretty common technique, especially if you have an airbrush, it's not something I've really tried before, so we'll be learning together on this one. I also fancy playing with some of the ideas from underpainting too, so even though these boys will end up Ulthway, we're going in with this turquoise paint as our base. When all three are done, I fill up my airbrush with a neon yellow and work in some highlights. Note, I'm ignoring natural top-down light for this, and more just picking a spot on the body of the bike and building a gradient out from there. It should be pretty clear from the thumbnail what the idea was here, but in any case, it'll all make sense in just a moment. Over everything, I build a filter of phthalocyanine green ink, tying the two colours together and pulling them back a little from the really neon-y appearance. Next up, I coat everything in gloss varnish. The reasoning here is twofold. One, inks can be a little more delicate than regular acrylic paints, and the durability on this paint job is about to get a bit of a test. And two, I fancy trying out some finish contrast with this. Again, what I mean by that will be clearer in just a second. Okay, here comes the masking tape. This is 2mm modelling masking tape. I wouldn't really trust regular masking tape. This modelling stuff is very delicate, and it also comes in the sorts of sizes that are useful at 32mm scale. That said, I know there's a long tradition of finding cheaper material alternatives outside the hobby world, so if you've had success with anything, let us know in the comments below. One hot tip I will give is using a cotton wool bud. It's a nice gentle way to smooth down your tape. It's a good idea to get your tape nice and secure before you start painting over the top of it. Speaking of which, let's get some more paint on this bike. I'm always looking for interesting blacks and whites, so I'm starting this process with some dark violet ink. It mixes with the green to yield a pretty convincing black by itself, but I'll reinforce it a little with actual opaque black as well. I'm now paying more attention to natural light, trying to leave a little band of lighter purple black down the middle of the bike. Off camera, the whole bike also got a coat of matte varnish. This is what I meant by finish contrast. Hopefully, we'll get nice shiny stripes on a matte body, which I thought could be interesting. Okay, let's get this tape off and see what we're dealing with. Ooh, now that is a bold look. If you don't have guitar player fingernails, by the way, you might want to get the tweezers out for this one. Okay, cool, that's looking fun. No rest for the wicked though, let's take a look at those riders next. I want to tie in the scheme of these boys and girls with their bikes, so we start out with all the same steps as before. A turquoise base, and yellow highlights, focusing specifically on the cloaks here, a green filter over everything, and the same sealing coat of gloss varnish over that when everything is dry. And then more taping. A little more fiddly this time with all those folds, so as well as the cotton bud, I used a wooden skewer to push the tape into all those nooks and crannies. With that done, the riders now diverge from their bikes. Instead of jumping into black, I'm laying down a sand yellow zenithal highlight. We're going for brown on the cloaks, so building yellow into this colour mix is going to help me sell the highlights better than green would, I think. Here comes that brown now. I'm using Instant Colour Rage Brown. Between Citadel Contrast Paints and Army Painter's new Speed Paint range, I feel like Scale 75's offering might be getting missed a little. But there are some quite interesting paints in this range, and they're very different from the heavy body ink approach of the other two contenders, so worth checking out, especially the browns. After that step, it's all pretty dull colour blocking and edge highlighting work. If you're really desperate to see me do that, feel free to check out the second Webway weekend stream that you can find on my channel. and if you're as big an Eldar fan as me, you should definitely hang out with us at the next one. We're planning on doing one on the last Saturday of each month for the foreseeable future, but keep an eye on the Eldar subreddit and subscribe here to get notifications for future streams. Alright, let's see what we've got. Speedy sniper boys. Not particularly stealthy with those neon stripes, but then who cares about all that when you're getting a hail of shuriken fire to the face? To be completely honest, this is not my favourite scheme ever. I still like the idea, and with some tweaked execution I think we could get something really compelling, but as they are, they're firmly in my okay category. Nothing wrong with that though, and I thought it would be interesting to share some of these techniques. I firmly believe there is always something to learn, and sharing is caring. But what do you think? What, if anything, would you do differently? Let me know in the comments below, and if you fancy sharing some of your own work or just shooting the breeze, check out the Discord linked below as well. Cheers, and see you next time.